The two biggest free agents for the Chicago Bears coming up is Tevin Jenkins and Keenan Allen, and things look interesting for both of these guys. It looks more like both of these guys will be finding new homes in 2025 for the 2025 season, but who knows? Anything can happen. It's early. Keenan Allen did say he would be playing for the Chicago Bears or the Chargers next season, but we'll see. Keenan Allen, that's the first name I'll talk about and discuss whether I would, re-sign him, bring him back, get what kind of contract I would give him. Caleb Williams, he mentioned that Keenan Allen was the best player he's ever played with. That's a huge statement. Caleb Williams and Keenan Allen had a good connection that was building towards the end of the season. Keenan Allen played 15 games this year. He missed 2 games. The earlier start to the season, things didn't look good. Jacksonville was Keenan Allen's big performance. Like, all right, this looks like the Keenan Allen we traded for, gave up a 4th round pick for. This is the one. This is the Keenan Allen, the version we wanted to see. This year, if he played those 2 extra games, maybe he gets 900 yards. But second half of the season really, picked up for Keenan Allen. I think OC also played a big part in his, limited production to start the season. Seemed like Waldron really didn't know how to use all the talent the Bears had. Really didn't know how to use DJ Moore, Odunze, Cole Kmet. Really didn't know how to scheme all these guys open and use all of them. You had these guys running the same routes next to each other and stuff. So really, I would say OC play calling scheme really played a factor in Keenan Allen not having as productive season as he could have. But when Thomas Brown took over, we saw a big jump in his production. The first game against Minnesota, 86 yards, 1 touchdown, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns against Detroit. Against Minnesota again, 82 yards, a touchdown, 6 catches. His best game was against Detroit the second time. He had 13 targets, 9 catches, 141 yards, and a touchdown. He was a huge security blanket for Caleb down the stretch. We saw him get like 15 targets multiple games in the second half of the season. A guy that you could trust on third down. Exactly what we wanted him to be for Caleb. He was that. Created great separation. A guy that was always open. 4th down situations. Keenan Allen was the guy he went to. And he had some drops, yeah. Some catches that we wish he would have came down with, but for the most part, really reliable target for Caleb. And that's something I would want. That's somebody I would want to keep for Caleb. They built a great connection, built a great trust for each other. Keenan loves playing with Caleb. Caleb loves playing with Keenan. Keenan Allen has a great relationship with DJ Moore. DJ Moore wants Keenan Allen to stay in Chicago. And you can never have enough weapons. You think about Keenan, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. That's a receiving corps that would cook with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson would cultivate an amazing offense, had top 5 offense with just all those weapons, and Cole Kmet at tight end too. So I have no doubt in my mind Ben Johnson's going to be able to create great play designs and scheme those guys open, and those guys will be able to flourish in an offense with a competent offensive mind. So Keenan staying, I would be okay with, and that's what I would prefer, a 2-year deal. Allow him just to play out, the last great years of his career with Caleb and help Caleb develop more. And, after 2 years when Keenan Allen's going to retire or he's going to go one last stop, maybe back to the Chargers, we're looking at Caleb as a completely a finished product. Keenan Allen, smart player, so like another coach on the field, basically a receivers coach. I would want another guy like that on the team. You need a veteran like that. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to keep him. And I think, with Ben Johnson now controlling things with this offense, I think he would be able to have a 1,000-yard season, especially with Caleb, another year. Better offensive line, hopefully. Yeah, I think Keenan could put up a 1,000-yard season. I think so can DJ and Rome Odunze. I think we could have 3 1,000-yard receivers. People think Keenan will hinder, Rome Odunze's production and, stop his growth, stunt his growth. But when you have the right guy, everybody's going to get the targets. We saw that with Thomas Brown being the OC. For a little bit. We saw everybody get targets. The right offensive mind is going to be able to get targets to everybody. And I think Rome will get more targets than Keenan, as he should. But Keenan will still be really effective on those 3rd down situations as a security blanket like we wanted him to be. So I think, we could have 3 1,000-yard receivers. And we'd be like the second team to do that, I think. Other than, the Arizona Cardinals when they had, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, Steve Breston, I think. But that's just something that would be great for the Bears. To have an offense like that with our defense, things could get scary, for real. I'm more on the fence of re-signing Keenan Allen. Now, Tevin Jenkins, when he's fully healthy, he is our best offensive lineman. He's just not fully healthy consistently. And he's missed 3 games this last year, 12 games the year before, 13 games the year before that, and 6 games his rookie season. So he's yet to put together a full 17-game season. He missed the last game against Packers. So he's an IR merchant. Like, he's always on IR. He's always missing time. And it's unfortunate because the player he is, he's a great player, phenomenal player. I think if he could put a fully healthy 17-game season, he would be an all-pro guard. He's just that good. That good in the run game. That good in run blocking. Good pass protector. And I think Chris Morgan, I didn't trust him as an offensive line coach. He was a terrible offensive line coach. Our offensive line continued to get worse. Darnell Wright, stunning his development. Tevin Jenkins didn't look as good this year, which didn't make sense because he was phenomenal the year before. So I think you bring in the right offensive line coach. I see that they're probably going to hire former offensive line coach under Sean Payton, which he's, worked with some really good offensive linemen in New Orleans, Jahari Evans, some other great names like Teron Armstead. He's had some all-pro offensive line talent with him and just played a big part in that with, his coaching, instilling confidence in those guys, what he's, teaching those guys. I think that would be a great name to help a guy like Tevin Jenkins, take those next steps. Darnell Wright, take those next steps. Trey Smith, it would be great for Tevin Jenkins. And 26 years old, about to be 27. You know the player you have in him. You know how good he is. 75.4 overall PFF grade, 75.8 pass block grade, 74.3 run block grade, 4 penalties this year, 4 sacks allowed. So, yeah, he's one of our best offensive linemen. I think Darnell Wright, obviously, because he plays more games, he's a more consistent option. But Tevin Jenkins, if he played all 17 games, he's our best offensive lineman that we've had in a while. These are really fucking good offensive linemen. He's an offensive lineman. If Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, if those guys get knocked on the ground, he's going to go fight that person that put him on the ground. So that's the type of offensive line you want. That's the type of guy you want on your team that helps build the culture you want. So physical offensive lineman that, is accountable, plays hard, great run blocker. Ben Johnson needs a guy like that at the guard position. So yeah, you know what you're getting with him. So I would lean more on the side of keeping him if the deal is cheap, if it's team friendly, because like I said, the injury history, no team's going to bag him off. No team's going to pay him a premium. He'll probably get a good deal, but I think we could negotiate a pretty cheap deal for him to stay, a 2-year deal, and draft a guard still, Tyler Booker or Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. Still do that. A guy like Donovan Jackson would be great because he can play tackle, he can play guard. So I'd be more for that. But you get Tevin Jenkins, you get Drew Dahlman, you get Trey Smith, you feel really confident about your offensive line with that group. And even Braxton Jones at left tackle still, and Darnell Wright, that's a really good offensive line. A young offensive line too at that. So if it makes sense, I'm more on the side of keeping Tevin. I don't want to lose players like this. This is another David Montgomery, another Roquan Smith, a really good player that the Bears drafted, and we're not going to see him reach his full prime and full potential. We're just going to let him go somewhere else, and him go to Baltimore, him go somewhere else. He could go somewhere else and be really fucking good. Dallas, any team that needs an offensive guard. It would definitely suck to see him be an all-pro somewhere else. So this is another guy I would resign. But I'm okay. I understand if you don't want to resign him, the injury history, you want to commit to somebody else that's more proven, that's going to be there for 17 games. You want to go that route. I'll understand it completely, but this is one of my favorite players in the Bears. So hopefully we resign Keenan. Hopefully we resign Tevin. But like I said, if not for both, I understand completely. Let me know down below. What would you do if you're Ryan Poles? But I would want him to get an extension done with, Keenan Allen. I would want him to stay with the Chicago Bears for maybe 2 or 3 more years because he's coming off his best season last year with the Chargers.